Okay. Is it live? Come on.
Yeah, you're live now.
Okay. There we go. Turn that off.
I need to mute you.
Okay. Excuse me. So I got this on Steam. This is Lock and Load Tactical. There's a couple of people sitting over here, but we are not going to try to play them. Kind of go over the interface a little bit so you guys can get a sense of what it looks like here. Let's go to the tutorials. We'll begin basic interface. So we'll do this very quickly, then we'll jump into a battle. Okay.
Sounds good.
Talks about how we move. Says this tutorial will give you an overview of the basic interface of the game and some simple actions for your units. Okay. So WASD key moves. Also the middle mouse moves. And you can scroll in and scroll out. Nice and easy. You'll notice this basic interface tutorial is blinking. Excuse me. And it says the Americans must capture 2 victory hexes. These 2 hexes which are pulsating. Let's move to the next. It says in this example you can see that the Americans have captured hex F7, which is circled, the building is southwest, and we must get to, what does it say? To G6, which is right here. You see there's a little German symbol next to that. Fair enough. So here's the control window. This is where you can pass, or when we get done with our impulses, then we can pass. Okay? So the control window is used for passing at the end of an impulse. For example, you finish your turn. The other buttons appear for actions involve off-board units such as snipers or reinforcements. The current game phase, such as operations phase, value phase, is also shown here for quick reference. Okay, let's go to the next step. Excuse me. Shows this window on the lower right. This is chat window. Unit selection. You see this hex is pulsating and there's a unit in there, and you'll see a unit down here. I'll hold my mouse over it. It's the US 101st Airborne Squad. Firepower 2, range 5, movement 4, morale 6. And it's got some other information about the unit there. Okay. So, units can individually be selected in this window. So I select it. That's the one that's there, I believe, highlighted. Excuse me, little girl. Okay. So, yeah, this is the one that's selected. And we've got the other squad here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the next step. It says left click on I3. Where's I3? I can't read the... Oh, there we go. Oh, I3 is the German up here. Okay, so we can select the German up there and see some information again if I hold my mouse over it about that particular unit or what's stacked in that hex. Have you played this before, Chris?
A couple of times, both digital and I've got both Heroes of Falkland and Heroes of Vietnam.
Okay.
I've played Heroes of the Falkland.
I'm going to end up
What's
getting
that?
all the Heroes of the Nam would be cool. I'm going to get all the modules and we'll start playing them and rotate. I'm going to come up with a rotation. So I was talking with Chris earlier. By the way, that's not Jay. It's Chris. In case you didn't get that.
Either or.
But I think I'm going to be doing Hissy Plays on Tuesday nights. And I'm going to get a number of these style of games to start playing on the channel here live. So we'll definitely be playing some more Lock and Load. But I just have the core currently. And we're just going to kind of work ourselves through the core a little bit tonight. And we'll get a mission in. And then hopefully I can get not Jay to come up and we can play a little 1v1 some evenings.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, so what does this say now? I3 map is now okay. The red outline to indicate current hex, German squad in. Now let's do some simple actions with our units. Okay. There are 2 pulsating units. Let's just select the one on I6. I guess he's already selected. We'll go next step. Yep. And what do they want us to do? Left click. There we go. Selected. And you can see what I might be able to do movement wise. No line of sight. So as you move your mouse over the terrain, it's going to give you some feedback on where you might want to move. This would be cool if you could do this with real cardboard games somehow. Oh, remember those Google Glasses? What if you had an interface with Google Glasses over your hex encounter cardboard games? That would be really cool. Somebody needs to invent that technology. Okay, so we're selected. Let's go to the next step. They want us to move into this, so we're going to go ahead and move there. And you hear footsteps. So we're going to go next step. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and end our impulse. Now, a turn ends after 3 successive impulse ends. So you see right here it says pass number 1. So if I pass, it goes to the Germans to pass number 2. It comes back to me, it'll be pass number 3. If I pass, that then ends the turn and it resets all of our impulses. Okay? So here it says it's now the Germans player's impulse. Okay? One side activates, and that's basically what I just explained. Okay, so we're going to go to the next step. We're going to go ahead and pass. See, it now says pass number 2 for us. But we're not going to do that. We're going to select our unit. And then when I just move my mouse, I'm not holding any of the buttons down. It's going to give me the ability to fire. If I left click, or if I right click, we can go into melee. But we're not going to go into melee, we're going to go ahead and left click. And you see I rolled a red 5 and a white 4. And then it rolls a 5, and the damage check over here, damage check 4+, it rolled a 5. So apparently it did some damage. Let me hold my mouse over that. I guess it's now finished. This is the tutorial. Okay. So that was the basic interface. We'll go to map and terrain very quickly. And again, I'm going to go through these tutorials as quick as I can, and then we'll get into a battle. Okay, this tutorial will go over the map and the types of terrain in the game. If you have a copy of the 5.1 Officer Edition rulebook, it roughly follows the infantry gameplay narrative on page 156. I don't own that. We will get a copy of one of those. Okay, so what is it saying to do? Let's go ahead and next step. Geographic map. Go ahead.
That's the nice thing about the digital. The digital version is a direct port of the board games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would hope that they would be, but it's nice to know that they are. So this is map 15. So if you own the physical game, you go in and pull map 15, you should see this map. That's what you're telling me.
Correct.
Awesome. So this says right here, you're looking at a single geomorphic map panel here, map 15. It can be combined. We understand how all that works. We've been playing enough games to figure that out, right, Case? Okay, each hex approximately 50 meters. Oh, also, when we were talking about movement, I'm just moving my mouse to the edge of the of the window, and you see it rotates. So I'm not even touching the keyboard there. That's just the mouse. Okay, let's go to the next step. Moving the camera, we've already talked about this, WASD. Hold down your middle mouse button. You can, now can I rotate it? I don't see a rotate. Okay, that's something I'm going to have to explore. I did not see how I could rotate it. Not that I would necessarily need to, but here we go. Let's zoom up. Talks about different types of terrain. What do we got? Clear, F2. Okay, I'm not going to go over all this. Most of us are going to know these types of things anyway, right? Hey, nerd. How you doing, my friend? Okay, so again, this is going to mimic what you have if you own the physical copy of the game. Go to the next step here, buildings, same thing, heavy construction or stone. Should be familiar. If not, raise your hand. I'm looking, I don't see any raised hands. Guess we can move on. We got a black dot in the center. One nice thing, it's going to figure out a line of sight for us. We don't have to put strings on the computer monitor, so don't worry about that. Hexside terrain. Okay, obviously, well, let's see, what is clicking there? So here we go. We've got, let me move this over a little bit. It says hover over hex F2. That's F2. Terrain window shows the hex name. I'm holding my mouse. Is it, where's it at? What am I missing? There we go. So hover over hex F2, the terrain in the window. I'm probably missing it. No, apparently I do need this tutorial. Okay, I won't waste much time here. I'm not sure where that's supposed to be showing up. It's supposed to be, but it doesn't appear that it is. Let's check again. Now move the mouse cursor on the various where that. Show me details. Oh. Okay, well, I'm not getting that. For movement costs. Are you seeing it at all, Chris? Am I missing it on the screen?
What's that?
The terrain info. Okay, well, I'm failing miserably on this terrain info. Hover over. Okay, we're hovering our mouse over F5. Maybe I wasn't hovering long enough? Huh. Yeah, I still don't see it. It's either me.
Yeah, that I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I'm doing everything, at least I think I am. There's the information. Okay, toggles it on and off. Okay. Things I can't tell if it's on or off. Or do I have no idea?
If it's green, it's on, and if it's gray, I think it's off.
Oh, the colors are so minute. When I hold my mouse over it, that window comes up. Terrain information T, let's try that. Oh, you know what? Duh. I was hiding it. The dork. You see it now, boss?
Yeah.
Okay. That's useful. Oh, you don't see it because of me. Let me move it. Okay. There, now you guys should see it. Yay me, I figured it out. Okay. So that's going to help tell us what's in these hexes. So as you see, as I now start to move the mouse over, we start to get some feedback for movement cost, offensive, terrain modifiers, excuse me, whatever else we need to know. Got it. I'm glad I took the time to do that. Okay. It wants G4. Okay, G4 contains light woods, which is degrading terrain. Costs 2 movement points for leg to enter, and has a target modifier +1 and an obstacle height of 1. All of that which we can see up in the terrain box at the top. Okay. What does terrain type mean? Open, degrading, and blocking. These influence line of sight. That seems pretty obvious. Okay. That's also very similar to what you're going to see in Point Blank. They use a very similar type of thing with your line of sight. It's either degrading or blocking. So, good to know. Same publisher, by the way, so that makes sense that it might be that way. Open terrain, clear just as, let's see, there's an open terrain. Excuse me. Okay. grading terrain, such as light woods, bushes, and low crops, degrade or hinder line of sight. Okay, it has a modifier on your dice roll. And then blocking terrain, obviously you're not going to have line of sight. Okay. Center dots. Line of sight is traced from dot to dot. Straight line, not connect the dots. Okay. Units and markers. I gotta remember, I've got these windows in my face so you guys can kind of see all of this, hopefully. Okay, so now it says this tutorial will go over the counters used in the game. If you have a copy, 5.1 rule book. Chris, do you know what the latest edition of the rule book is? Is it 5.1 or is it later? Do you know?
Let me take a look.
Thank you, sir. I don't own a physical copy of this yet either. I just have the online version, the core rules.
All right. The core rule book that I received in the in my Heroes of the Knot is 5.1.
Perfect. So they're in sync. That's nice to know. At least they are as of today.
Yeah, and I think when they do a change on the physical game, they update in Steam also.
Okay, that makes sense, but it's nice to kind of verify.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Devin there in the chat?
Yeah, the OG.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 5.1 revision 73 or 75.
Good. There we go. Straight from the horse's mouth. Not that Devin's a horse, mind you. Don't take that the wrong way. Sorry.
No, he is a squid though.
Okay, so at the bottom of the counter, you got three numbers, left to right: firepower, range, movement factor. That would be 254. The number circle in the upper right is your morale. Okay. Now they're going to go through this, what I just said. Okay, your firepower. And it says the IFP is added to indirect fire attacks. And that's your inherent firepower. FP for firepower, I for inherent. Even though it's two words with a three-letter acronym. That's the trick. Okay. Inherent firepower can be 0 if a unit cannot initiate or participate in direct fire, if the IPO is listed as an asterisk. Okay. How many hexes you can fire with its firepower? Count the hexes, but not the range of the unit when counting range. Let me reread that. A unit's range is how many hexes a unit can fire with its firepower. Count the hex, the target hex. Okay. So if I am firing from a unit next to me, that's not 2 hexes, that's just 1 hex. That's basically what that says. You just count the unit that the target is in, you count the hex that the target is in, but you don't count your hex for range. Just think of it as your weapons are right on the edge of the hex. So that doesn't count, if that makes any sense the way I explain that. Movement factor, pretty obvious. It's going to be how many hexes you can move with the terrain modifiers affecting that as well. Okay, morale. Now the front unit counter is good order. The back side is generally shaken. I don't know if they're going to flip it. Oh, there we go. And that's what the back side looked like. Clearly says shaken on it. And there's your star and your star. So what that tells me is they're not going to be moving necessarily on their own accord. Oh, let's go previous. Movement factor is 4. The range, yeah, okay. So they basically have no range. They're not really going to attack. But they can move 2. Identification badge. This is chrome. Good chrome. And squads. These are multi-man counters. Represent 8 to 12 men. There are 2 figures on the counter. Okay. Kneeling and standing. Sometimes referred to numbers on the counter. The German squad will be called a 164 or 1645. So 164. I shouldn't assume anything. Possibly all the 164s also have a morale of 5, but the counter will tell you. Oh, interesting. Okay, so units with a red box around their movement factor, such as the 254 American Squad, can assault move and assault fire, explained later in the tutorial. Half squads are multi-man counters that represent 4 to 6 men. That's unshaken. Obviously, it's just half strength or half squad. You got crews, same layout, right? No firepower, range of 1, movement of 3, morale of 5. So we're picking this up pretty quick. Weapons team, whoa, look at that. That's pretty good, range of 16. Firepower of 4, movement of 2. That's some serious range. Counter-facing covered arc. And you'll notice there's a little red triangle pointing off in the direction, the left 45-degree angle. The red arrow in the upper left-hand corner denotes the facing of the counter. Weapons teams with facing all vehicles always face one of the hex's vertices. So you're going to be on one of these lines coming out of the hex, not the middle of the hex. The 2 hexes on either side of the vertex are called the front arc. So with this gun sitting in H4, this is the vertice. G3 and H3 would be its front arc. And then that probably extends out. So pretty straightforward. You can rotate to any of those vertices, and then you've got your arc. Ordnance have high explosive equivalent number. The HE shown in the square. That is also the morale, which is 6. So this is what the weapon does with HE, which probably has a different result when obviously in combat. Okay. And what else does it say? This is used for ordnance weapons that fire at non-vehicle targets, and is their effective firepower versus those targets if they hit. Fair enough. Lieutenant Jensen here. Single man counters. Obviously they've got the face of a person and a name. These are significant individuals who have special abilities and powers to alter the course of a battle. That would be not Jay, for example. Although his eyes would be very big and he'd have a blank expression on his face.
Pretty much.
These are leaders, heroes. Oh, I keep getting to the edge of the screen, that's why it's rotating or sliding around. I apologize for that. Okay, leaders, heroes, medics, snipers, armor leaders are all single man counters. They have a face or a single figure on them. Fair enough, easy to remember. Leaders are single man counters representing officers, non-commissioned officers, NCOs, and their counters have a face on them and have a name like Lieutenant Jensen or Corporal Medro. A leader counter has 3 numbers on its front, a good order. From top to bottom, morale. Leadership is the 1 and the movement factor. Okay, so the movement factor is in the same place. Morale is typically in the same place with the different counters. That's nice. You don't have to remember what's everything. Once you kind of get their location. And this 1 is a leadership modifier. Okay, so remember that the 6 here is their movement, but on a 246 unit, that would be a 2 in this location, a 4 in this location, let's say, and then the 6. So again, with the morale up there. So all of these, once you kind of learn what numbers are on the counter, they've done a pretty good job of laying that out so far consistently across all the counters. I like that. Okay, willingness to fight. Got it. Now I don't know how these come into play yet. Again, I've only dabbled with this game. I bought the digital version to help me learn the board game, and I'll end up having all this stuff at some point. But yeah, so when we get into a battle later, don't take that as how to play, but how I play, which I'm going to learn. Who have we got in chat? Let me take a look. Hey, Gordon. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Okay, so what's our next step here? Movement factor, we already know what that is. Leadership range. All leaders have an inherent leadership range of 1 that is not printed on the counter. Used during impulse, the leader can activate units in his or her hex and all adjacent hexes. So if I'm in H4, I can activate units all around me. So what is that? All 7 hexes, the 6 around me plus the 1 I'm in. Leg leaders can't activate vehicles in adjacent hexes, and armor leaders cannot activate leg units in adjacent hexes. There's no love there. Notice when he's shaken, he loses his leadership modifier. Okay, leaders who become wounded lose their LR. What was that? The leadership?
Leadership rating, probably.
Yeah, leadership rating. Okay. Well, range. They lose their range. Okay. So that means they can probably only deal with themselves and maybe somebody that's in their same unit. Okay, leaders, wounded or not, can call in off-board artillery, fire star shells at night, make spotting attempts, and possess skills. These topics are covered later in the tutorial. You subtract 1 from the morale. Okay, so I guess where I could have 7 hexes, I now only can have my leadership ability within the hex that I'm living in. Now, heroes are the most dynamic units in the lock and load tactical system. They can change the tide of a battle. This would be Jeff. He's our hero. Heroes sometimes become the scenario as part of order of battle. They also can be created due to combat results. Cool. I like that you can dynamically get heroes while you're playing the game. So I'm glad that they put that in here. Okay, heroes have a single name on the counter. Their combat information is the same. Again, you've got their firepower, their range, their movement. Oh, that one's got. Oh, that they can do the assault and morale. Heroes never shake. They're too busy being heroic. Nice. I got no time to be afraid. They can be wounded. I don't think any of those numbers changed. Look at that. Even wounded. Okay. Morale went down by 1, but you still fire. Still has a range of. So yeah, those. If you remember with a regular unit getting shaken. Oh, they don't get shaken. This is wounded. Okay, my bad. Oh, what am I looking? Okay, they always use their full firepower during multi-unit attacks, shaking units in their hex. They make rally attempts. They can assault, move, and assault fire. Interesting, even when they're wounded. And they can close assault vehicles. Okay, these guys definitely are badass. And here's your medic. Corpsmen represent exceptional medical personnel. The medic counters don't have firepower or range, but they have a movement factor. They can possess or fire support weapons. Okay, good to know. So they can protect themselves in a pinch. During each turn's rally phase, a medic can remove a wounded counter from a single man counter, including himself, rally a shaken multi-man counter or single man counter, including himself, to its go side. The object of the medic's attention must be in the same hex. Okay, so it said earlier there's no range. So if I've got to say that wounded hero in G3 and a medic jumps in there, during the rally phase, I can remove that wounded counter. He can get band-aided up. Snipers. Snipers are highly trained marksmen, as by the fact that we call them snipers, that's pretty obvious. They have their information the same layout. Okay, 0 firepower, range of 8. No movement. Morale of 6. Snipers, however, I was questioning no movement. Okay, it says snipers are highly trained. Information across the same range, movement factor across the bottom, morale is in upper right. Snipers, however, have a star for the movement factor. They can Cannot move once placed on the map. Okay. They fire individually, never with other units. They roll 2d6 instead of 1. Okay, when in a hex by themselves, they double the target's target modifier. Okay, so if they're sitting in a hex by themselves, they're harder to hit. If they're in with a unit, then they can take some damage just as easily as the unit. Armor leaders are like regular leaders with morale and leadership modifier. They have no movement. Okay, that's probably tied to their vehicle. Yep. So if a armor unit is destroyed, you lose the leader. And they literally are tied to their gear. Okay, support weapons. Are additional weapons that a multi-man or a single man can possess. Direct fire weapons, such as this as a machine gun, have firepower. Let me rephrase that, or reread that. Direct fire support weapons, such as this machine gun, have firepower and range values. The firepower is on the left and is added to the direct fire attacks. Okay, so this doesn't have movement. Okay, so this one's slightly out of the sequence with the other counters, because the 2 would be in this location, but it's a support weapon, so I get it. This is the range. So instead of range and movement, this is firepower and range. It's just slid over 1. They have a dismantled side. These types of support weapons cannot be moved unless they are dismantled. Okay, so they're big enough support weapons that you can dismantle them, move them. You probably have to remantle them, if that's a word, and then we can use them. Okay, ordnance. This is going longer than I thought it would. I don't want to bore you guys with going through all the rules, so we're going to jump into some combat and wing this here in just a minute, but I do want to finish this this tutorial since I started down this path. Bazookas or Panzerfaust fire ordnance. The number in the square, you can't quite see it, but there's a little gray square around the 2. Is its HE equivalent, much like the armor unit, right? Okay, this has an ATG weapon team, anti-tank gun. We saw earlier, the HE equivalent is used on the weapon to fire. Yeah, that's what I just said. So this might be on the bottom. Have a hit table on the back of their counter. This is the back of bazooka counter. 1, 3, 4. The top row is the 2 hits, shows the upper range limit in hex and columns. Therefore, bazooka uses the first column 1 for range 1. So that would be the. Am I reading it top to bottom or left to right? Therefore, the bazooka uses the first column not row. So, in case you guys don't know that. This would be a column, 1, 2, 3, 4. A row is 1, 10, 3. So it says use the column for range 1 hex, second column, range 3 for range. Okay, the second row, okay, did I just get this wrong? Did I say them backwards? Maybe I did, what do I know? Okay. So rows are up and down, columns. Nope, second row. Rows vertical or horizontal. Now I'm rambling, sorry guys. Okay, 10 in the first column. At range 1, it needs to roll a 10 or less. Okay, so you're going to read these down. On a range of 1, you're going to need a 10 to hit. On a range of 3, you need a 7. On a range of 4, you need a 4. Oh. No, bazooka table reads 10 in the first column at range 1. You need to roll a 10 or 10 or less. Okay, so yeah, a 7 or less or 4 or less. So it gets more difficult. Okay, I had it right. Yeah, a 7 in the center column at range 2. Okay, perfect. And the bottom is the penetration. Okay, so at range 1 we need a 10 or less to hit. And all of them have the exact same penetration on the bazooka, which is 3. And heat is the type of ordnance. Okay. Now the game is actually going to figure all this stuff out for you, and as you watch the results come out. So the first time I played this, I had no clue what I was doing. I was just shooting at stuff and watching the results. So the computer is going to do all that stuff for you. But keep in mind, this is going to help you learn the game. So when you're playing it on the board across from your friend, you're going to know this stuff. So I highly recommend getting this. And I think right now it's like $5 on Steam. Don't drink coffee tomorrow. Go get a copy of this game. If you like the tactical stuff, it's worth the $5. And again, I just got the core. So, but there's plenty of content in here for me to do what we're going to do tonight. Okay, so this again goes through more of the ordnance table. I'm going to speed this up so we can get into some combat. Let me. Okay, I'm just going to. Sorry, guys. Unless you wanted me to go through all of that, we're going to return to the main menu because I do want to get into some combat tonight. And I don't want to take too much of your time. I want to kind of get a sense for this. As I said, this game is going to show up in my rotation for what I play at least once a month, if not twice a month, because I really do like tactical games, and this looks to be right up my alley. So let's go load game. Yeah, we don't have those yet, but there we go. Starter kit, and we don't need the autosave. So let's just take. Let me go back. Return to main menu. I don't want to load a game, I want new game, there it is. Okay, rejoining the regiment, US against the Germans, there we go. Human player, computer player, over here. We'll keep it balanced, keep this short, fog of war. Okay, we'll go ahead and hit play the scenario. And as you can tell, the game looks fully supported with the number of units you can add in. So here we go. Setup. The German player must exit at least 2 full squad equivalents and 1 leader from hex H8. Even on the computer, the cats want to get involved. So let's. Oh. So that's B7. I want to see where H8 is. Right here. So that is where they need to get off the board. So we definitely want to be where we are. I'm going to just take the setup that the game has given me. And I'm going to hit continue. German's got the initiative. Okay. Again, I don't know if I should have deployed differently, but we're right by H8 and I can bring a bunch of firepower here. So if we pass 3 turns 3 times, so you notice again this says pass 1. I am going to so there I click the you see what I've got in there. I'm going to go ahead and pass. That moves the impulse back to the Germans. And it's back to pass 1 because they moved. So I'm going to go ahead and do this again. So Chris, if you want to throw in some suggestions on strategy, I'll take the help, my friend. Let me see what he's saying. I would not recommend playing the game with FOW on Fog of War. The scenarios are balanced around the board game. In the board game, there is no Fog of War. Okay. Did I set it with the Fog of War on? Okay, if I did, next time I won't, but good to know. So basically what he's saying there is, in the real world, you can see where those counters are, so there is no Fog of War. On the computer, you can turn Fog of War on, so when the units are moving or I don't see where they move, the computer knows where everything is. And it makes it exponentially more difficult because these scenarios are balanced based on the board game, not the video game. Makes sense. Thank you, Deb. Okay, we're going to keep passing. We might get slaughtered here, but I wanted you guys to get a sense of what it's Okay, so we pass, they pass, it comes back to us passing in. If I move, then that resets this whole thing. But at this point, I I don't know if it's smart to maybe, let's see what we can do. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to select, just to learn, okay? And that's the machine gun. Oh, we don't want him. Let's take one of these units. That unit and that weapon. And let's move them over. No, I don't know if I got the weapon or not. Well, it looks like he didn't take the weapon with him. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to go ahead and end my impulse there. Let's see what the computer does. So, they passed. It goes to pass 2, I'll pass, and I'm sure they're going to pass the reset up there. Yeah. Okay, continue the operations phase. So it went through automatically and handled the rally phase. There was no need for any rally. We're going to go ahead and continue. Operations phase. Ooh. We definitely want to direct fire there, don't we? So I didn't touch anything. The computer came back with a recommendation. Direct fire. Oh, here we go. Like that. Oh! Apparently I didn't get to shooting. Okay. Not sure what I did wrong there, but we'll figure this out.
Devin says weapons are attached to squads. Can only transfer weapons during the rally phase. You selected a squad without a weapon, so it's the one that moved.
Okay, that makes sense. I figured it might have been something like that. Okay, so we went ahead and fired. Now they're moving. Okay, we're going to go ahead and try this again. There we go. So this is going to fade, but you see, yeah. What's the one give us? Damage on a 4+, so there's no damage. Okay. No effect. What do we have here? Oh, he's just going to run off the table. Oh, we don't want that. Now, these units have already fired, so I don't think they have... yeah, I think all of my impulses are done. This is going to be anticlimactic. This is one behind me. Yeah, they okay. Apparently that's what I've done. If I select him, he's already fired. And there's nothing in there. You can turn on the delay for the messages staying on the screen. Oh, okay, good to know. Default is 6 seconds. I'll definitely up mine because I'd like to be able to read that, especially because I'm using this one not only as a game to play, but as a learning tool. So I'm going to go ahead and pass. We're at the mercy of these chatbots at the moment. Okay. Passing it. Jeez, I got the initiative all 3 times. Rally phase. So there's a morale check. Okay, turn 3 of 5, rally, continue. I don't think we have anybody that needs to rally. So total 5, no effect. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to set that to stay up a little bit longer. I think that would be helpful for me. And we're not going to pass and do nothing. There we go. feeling these guys are going to probably try to attack me. It says hit escape and bring up options. Okay, options. There we go. And audio and video. Okay, maybe interface. Go up to 20 seconds. Let's crank that up to 10 seconds just to see how that works. Okay. So let's take him. One move. They're shaking. Let's go ahead and fire. 3, firepower 2, total of 5. 0 plus. Germans have a 2. Okay, now we're gonna wait 10 seconds. 1 damage check 3 plus and no effect. So we want to roll high on damage checks. Okay. Half squad. Damage check. Oh, that should be damage. Yep. Casualties. Total 8. Okay. Ends the impulse. Come on, guys, hang in there. Firepower. That's nice. They show all the modification of the modifiers. Okay, we've got. I don't want to pass though. I'm going to select him. We can fire. We can fire. Fire. That's not enough for them to win, I don't think. We might be able to eliminate that unit. But we're going to leave that to him. So we're going to fire here. Okay. Direct fire. Firepower 3. Additional firepower 2. Adjusted plus 2. Roll a 10. Plus 4. Total 7. Oh, we wanted to roll higher there. 3 plus. Looks like it did do damage. They're shaken. Okay. I think that's, nope, there it is. Ooh, 4, I think that's what we wanted. Damage 33 plus. Total 7, results shaken. Okay, so that is good. We got shaken, resulted in that 2 kill them. I think I'm going to roll that back just a little bit to maybe, let's do this. That 10 seconds is just a tad too long. Let's, I'll get even tenths of a second. Okay, let's roll that back to around 7.5. That'll work. Okay. So we'll end our impulse. Now again, we moved everybody in that hex. Oh, that sounded painful. Firepower 1, more. Okay. Okay, so I think we're all done with our impulses, so we're just going to pass. And whatever else they have left to do. I think that's okay, so this is going to reset. We're going to move on to turn 5. Turn 4, excuse me. I got the initiative again. Rally. Do not rally. We're all failure. Okay, total. -2, so no, they didn't get it. Sweet. Okay, so oh. It's rally. Okay, operation phase, they're moving. Do we want to shoot at him? Interesting. What do we do, guys? Do we take a shot at him or not? What do you think, Chris?
I would do it. If you're not rolling dice, you're not playing.
Good point. Well, they're splitting up. I just want to make sure I can get some kills here so we can win this thing. No effect. That's not what we wanted. Okay. So I can melee. Let's try it. Oh, shake and bake. An achievement. Did we eliminate him? I think we did. In the impulse. Okay, that was effective. Sweet. And I love that the corners are clipped on these counters. It makes me happy.
Well, that's how they come in the box, also.
Yeah, but still. Nice.
I told you it's a direct port.
You were right. I'm looking forward to that. It's looking good. Now, I actually have the older Vietnam version of this game. And I think I've got the Band of Brothers. I think those are the first two. I haven't pulled them out in a long time. I don't know if the rules have changed. Probably quite a bit. I don't know if I can use the boxes that I have. I forgot what the name of the Vietnam game was, but it was, I think, their first edition. It's been a while since I've had them. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pass. Again, I don't think we have it. Oh, we finally got the initiative. Okay. Rally phase. Continue. Don't rally, don't rally, don't rally. Yeah, they did. So the leadership and terrain gave them a 3. They rolled a 6 minus the 3 gives them a 3, which is less than 5. Same thing here, leadership 3. They rolled a total of 1. So, yep, they passed that morale check as well. Operations phase. Okay. What do we have there? A half squad. A half squad's not going to win it for them. Yeah, half squad's not going to win it. What do we got here? So let's take this. I'm going to put morale on. Running blindly and getting shot probably isn't going to make them morale. Okay. There's a direct fire. Okay, that got stopped. Oh, it's 6. That's never good. Shaken. Okay. I wonder if the path that I chose made a difference. I wonder if I could have come up and then over. I'll have to pay attention to that next time I play this. Okay. Oh, in my impulse. I don't think there's anything else I can do there. Oh, he's coming back. We're going to go ahead and take a direct fire on him. Sure. Let's do that. Boom. Oh, that doesn't look good. Damage check 4. We're shaken. Okay. What we got now? Pass. There we go. Victory to the good guys. Alrighty, guys. We've been playing for about an hour. I'm going to end this here just a second. I'm going to review this. Initiatives 1. 1 out of 4. Okay. Heroes, none. Enemies shaken. 5 to 1. Successful rallies. They got 2 out of 4. Melees. 1 and 1. Helpless units eliminated. 1. Okay, so yeah, that's what happened on the 1. Dice rolls. Kind of gives us a breakdown of what we rolled. I'm not sure how that's helpful, but that's kind of cool. And here's where we stand. Eliminated on turn 3. And turn 3 is where we got the casualties, and we got them on turn 4. Okay. nice. As I said, fun game. They got a lot going on with this, and I suspect as this tactical system gets more additions, it's all going to go digital as well. So, like I said, you'll be seeing me play this on the channel here in the future at some point. I'd love to play against some of you guys. So let me know in the comments if you're up for a game. And we can do it offline or we can do it on video, either or. As always, guys, I appreciate you taking time to check out what I do here on the channel. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye for now. As I go log off, which I still haven't learned how to do.